Hi everybody, today we're in my bathroom. That's why it's kind of very echoey in here. I'm going to show you how I clean my brushes. So these are all my Blank Canvas cosmetic brushes. I always try and clean my brushes after every use pretty much. But the ones that you really want to be careful of are these type brushes, which are the kind of dual fiber ones. This is the number 3 from Blank Canvas Cosmetics. And the foundation brushes. Foundation and concealer brushes need to be cleaned after every use. You can't reuse them again. The great thing about this is because of the type of fiber that is used in this, it actually dries a lot quicker than your powder brushes. So you might be able to get away with using your powder brushes once or twice, but you should always try and clean these synthetic fibers and the ones that you use for foundation and concealer after every use. So there's a few things that you need to have when you are cleaning your brushes. You need a clean towel, and what I did with a towel is I fold the back part here so we have a little bit of a ridge so that we can place our brushes on top, and it's going to be tilted forward so they're going to dry properly. And then I have this. Now this is what I use to clean my brushes. This is just a hand soap, but it's antibacterial, but it's also good for softening the hands. So that's why I use it on my brushes, because it keeps them really, really clean, but it also softens them. You can also use some baby shampoo and conditioner. It really doesn't matter. This I just find works really well for me, and it's handy because it's probably already in your bathroom. You want to make sure that your water isn't freezing cold, but it's not super hot. You want it to have somewhere in between, and try to make it more on the cold side rather than the warm side. You also want to start by washing your own hands. A little tip that I have is to have a wet hand and a dry hand. Your dry hand is the one that you're going to hold the brush with, and the wet hand is what you're going to use to kind of buff in the soap. So I'm going to have my wet hand, and I'm going to use this for my soap. And this is going to hold the brush with this hand, which is my dry hand. So I've taken a little bit of soap in my hand, and I get my brush, and I'm going to wet my hand a little, and then wet the brush. And then I'm just going to start to buff in the soap. Just always make sure to rinse it really well, so that there's no soap residue left on the brush. You're squeezing out your brushes, just do it very, very gently and hold the brush upwards like this. That way it'll just drain all the wet particles right to the bottom, and they're not going back into this part here. You'll know when your brush is clean enough to be set aside when the water that drips out is clear. Now I'm just going to place it up on the towel. You want to make sure that the handle of the brush is on this higher part, so the water is going to drip down and drip out of it. Sometimes your brush handle can have a lot of foundation and concealer kind of on it, which can make it look a little bit kind of old. So what I do with those is I'll just take a little tiny drop of baby oil onto a tissue, and you can also use a baby wipe, it works in the same way. I just run it over the brush. And this breaks down all the foundation and just leaves the brush handle looking super shiny and brand new again. Just make sure you really dry it, because you only want to use the baby oil to clean it. You don't want it to be sitting onto the actual brush handle. You can see how much shinier and brand new it looks. Sometimes when my brushes are feeling very coarse and I want them to be back to their softness, I'll just take a little drop of conditioner and I'll just work this in after I've cleansed the actual brush. So I'll just work it over the brush and always rinse it afterwards. Pay particular attention to the ones like this, because one thing, it's lighter colour, so you really want to make sure these get really deep down clean, and also because of the shape of it. See how this is slightly angular, so when you're drying it you want to make sure that it stays in that angular shape. So this, I'm squeezing out the water so it's going in at an angle, so it's going to stay within its angle when I set it up to dry. You also want to make sure that your light ones are far enough away from these that they don't get any kind of transfer of dark dye, because sometimes these can actually have a little bit of like a dye residue left in the towel, and you don't want that to be seeping over and then dyeing the end of your white brushes. The handle of the brush does get quite wet. Just make sure you give it a quick dry like that, just to make sure that it's not soaking. Also, another tip about this one, because it's double-ended, I usually let it just dry flat rather than tilting it up or tilting it this way, because either way you're just going to get water. You could get water along here, so it's better just to leave it dry flat, and that way you just kind of get the best out of it. Eyeliner eyeliner brushes and lip brushes can be super hard to clean. So all you have to do is take some tissue and a little drop of baby oil or olive oil. You can see how quickly this will just get rid of all that liner that's on there. Just by rubbing it in like this. Baby oil actually breaks down even waterproof mascara. That's why it works really well for even long-lasting type of eyeliner. I'm just going to flip it over and use the other side as well, just so you get the full use out of it. Now you still want to clean these, but you have got the majority of the stain off. And that is how I clean my brushes. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys soon.